Hello, everybody. This is Nick Totaro, Professor of Information Technologies, Computer Science at Lakeland Community College. Let's explore social engineering. And it's fairly easy for us to sit back and, have a perfect view. Hindsight is 2020, or even sometimes what I call a condescending view of some of these social engineering scams, but they have been going on for centuries. We just happen to now migrate them over to some kind of digital affair. Now, basically, social engineering is a con. It's a confidence. If you've ever seen the movie Paper Moon, or the individual and the actor in there was playing a confidence man. So these have been going on literally for centuries. Somebody's trying to separate you from your money, and they're using certain techniques. Now, in the cybersecurity world, those techniques are often delivered electronically. So before we get started on this is not just like, see this scam and blah, but I want to deep dive into how this scam is working. I've not taken a psychology course in 40 years, right? So please excuse me if I trip over some verbiage and stuff like that. I'm going to take any content basically from the cybersecurity world. So we're not going to get into psychological things. Before we get started, I noticed this on the radar a couple weeks ago, and it was very intriguing. At first, it was just a blip, and then I'm like, wow, there's some real sophistication involving in there. It's only been around for a few years. Actually, the con, again, has been around for centuries, but this method of con has been around really for only a few years. Now, I do apologize. There may appear to be some social constraints in here, or ethnicities in here in these cons. It's not. This is happening worldwide. It just happens to be happening in a very concentrated area. So I'm not meant to offend any ethnicities here. Let's go up to my screen and let's start with the big picture, and then we're going to work our way down and see how this scam really works. All right, so I'm at Wikipedia, and the scam is called pig butchering scam. I apologize if that offends anybody. And the basic premise of this scam and why it's called the pig butchering scam is it's a long scam. It is not something that is done where they make it immediately a couple $100 and then they're gone. This is something that they work months, potentially years, and they're hauling in large sums of money. And you're going to see me analyzing a particular situation where the individual basically lost almost $500,000. And then the individual that lost this $500,000 was not, was highly educated, right? Was an IT person. I have to use the gender. She was female. She is female, highly educated individual, and she got caught in the scam and lost almost $500,000. And it's called pig butchering because it comes from the phrase that you fatten up the hog, you fatten up the pig before you slaughter it. And then once you slaughter it, you gain more than what you put into it. It's been out for a while. There's some history associated that's coming out of Southeast Asia, China, and India. And here is some of the implementations. This is just from Wikipedia here. It says, you're gaining trust, you're then introducing investment, collecting money, and then they're gone. It's more insidious than that. And we're going to look on how this works and then how we could potentially advise individuals to be careful. We can advise individuals constantly, be careful, be careful. But there's certain things that, should be red flags to cybersecurity individuals. So let me go up to the story. And this is a fairly recent story. I think this came out in February 2024. And the basic premise is this individual got caught in the scam. She was a recent divorcee. She middle age. I would say they don't really make mention of it, but I've read different same news story, but different. And they say she was middle age, probably in her 40s, recently divorced, and she started on a dating app, a legitimate dating app. And that's kind of where this gets very insidious. It was a legitimate dating app, and not obviously, but if you read it, she's from India. So one of the legitimate dating apps she was using, she wanted to meet people of similar cultures. Well, what happened? Well, she met somebody on one of the dating apps. They established a long distance relationship. And I don't mean long distance halfway around the world. She was in the United States. She believed the individual she was talking to on the dating app was also in the United States. Well, it was a little bit long distance where there was a couple hundred, she believed there was a couple hundred miles between the two. So they couldn't meet in person immediately. Any kind of meeting in person would take a little bit of effort, but it wasn't halfway around the world effort. Now, all that is fairly important. So they established this relationship very quickly. If you read some of the stories about it, they decided to get off the dating app. They didn't want to be involved with and it was on his side. Let's get off the dating app. Let's get away from the other people, and let's use the communication software called WhatsApp. Again, a very legitimate piece of software. Now, a little bit of red flag here. And again, this is our cybersecurity mindset coming into play. Why WhatsApp? What did WhatsApp provide that standard texting didn't provide? Now, I'm assuming they are also doing email, but this individual, the con artist, the social engineer, said, let's migrate over to WhatsApp. Now, there's a couple things involved there. First of all, if you're using just standard texting, it's limited to the country that you're in. For example, I have family and friends in Canada. I cannot send SMS texts to Canada. My provider won't do that unless I pay for that. So, and then I have family friends in Hong Kong. I can't use my standard text to communicate with my family and friends in Hong Kong. I have to use WhatsApp. See, SMS doesn't want to cross country borders unless you're willing to pay the provider. So WhatsApp is just we can use it on Wi-Fi. It crosses borders. You're oblivious to where those borders are. If you were to look at my WhatsApp, you would see my family and friends in Toronto, my family and friends in Hong Kong, and that's how we chat. So that was kind of a red flag. The individual in this con told the victim, let's use WhatsApp for communication. My question would be, why can't we just use standard text? So there must have been something deeper there. He probably came up with a reason not to use standard text. Maybe he didn't want to, quote, pay for it or something. But the moment he said, let's use WhatsApp, that should have been a red flag to the individual. Why are we using WhatsApp when if we're in the same country, we can use just standard texting? Very ingenious. Very, very ingenious. So he's hiding his location. The next thing is, I wasn't quite sure if he was using AI to generate an image or if he was using his own image. Some of the reports saying that AI is now being involved with it, where they're creating these deep fake images. They never met. They made arrangements to meet. I think she may have been in California, and one of the stories that he was saying he was from Philadelphia. And every time they went to plan to meet, he canceled out. He said, oh, something came up. So again, he's keeping distance, a physical distance away from this particular individual. And now this is going on for months. He knows her birthday. He's sending her roses on Valentine's Day. He's sending emojis. He's establishing that normal communication that we've all have with friends and family. Oh, I better wish my sister a happy birthday. I better wish my friends Merry Christmas. And he's establishing this. This is not over the course of a weekend. This is over the course of months. Then he starts laying his foundation of, again, because she's middle-aged, he's also middle-aged, but he is going to be retiring soon. He is able to retire. Again, if you read deeper into the story, he is planning to retire because he's had success with investments. Now, Recently, in the past 5, 10 years, many of you, I know family friends have done this. They began to invest using the Robinhood app on our cell phones, where they're able to buy and sell and trade legitimate stocks. Robinhood is a very reputable company. Buy and trade and sell stocks and all this other stuff, and there's commissions, and it's completely legitimate. But he convinces the victim that he knows of a better platform. So he says, not going to use Robinhood. I'm aware of this better platform, probably less fees. You will still have accounts associated with it. You can still trade. There is, to me, the evil genius comes into play. He created a couple things, or this organization he was working for created a couple things. One, they created an app. They created a very legitimate looking app, kind of the Bernie Madoff, where they kept, keep this app a secret because we're getting big returns on it, and he passes it along to him. Now, in some of the articles, they talk about that it was associated with digital currency. Other articles say no, they were sending cash or money during wire transfers into bank accounts. It's still that evil genius. He creates this app. He creates legitimate bank accounts. And now this victim, this poor woman, she thinks she's not sending money to him, right? It's not, and there again, an evil genius. He's not saying send me money. He's saying use this app, register for this app. Very similar to, again, Robinhood's a legitimate organization, but Robinhood, you have accounts, and she starts putting money into the account for this app. He never asked her for money. Absolutely evil genius, but absolutely genius involved in that, because he is not asking her for money. It's not the Nigerian prince. It's not we've been talking for 6 months. I need a $10,000 loan. He provides her an app. She starts very small, incrementally. She sends money. She starts investing money. She's doing this. He's not even, from what I understand, he is not telling her invest in these organizations. She is, but he is, and his organization, it is organized crime, is manipulating that app, manipulating things where she is now receiving investments. Again, from the stories I read, it was never like this massive investments. It was just, she'd send investments and maybe get a 2-3% rate of return. Genius. Because most of us know if I invest $10,000 and I somehow make $50,000, it should be questionable. So if she's investing $10,000 and she's reaping rewards of $500 or $1,000, that's not a bad investment. And she starts putting more and more money into this account. She puts more money into this thing because obviously the more money she can invest, the more the rate of return. Months go by. And now it's time she wants her money out. She needs her money. By the time it is over and done with, she has committed over $450,000 into this account. But now she needs the money. She needs to pay her bills. She can't get the money. The account is locked out. She can't withdraw the money. She can deposit the money, but she can't. And there is when the scam is exposed, where she can't get the money, and now he's taking the money, or the organization he's working for is taking the money, and it's gone. And it's scary. It truly is scary because it has a lot of factors involved with it. I make joke about the Nigerian prince, but most of us are going to say, who is this stranger? Why does he want $5,000? Here is a stranger. Why does he want me to open up account and put $1,000 in it so he can transfer money into that account and we can split it? Those, though, in other videos I talked about how those work. That's not what happened. There was an establishment of a relationship using a legitimate dating app. The individual spent weeks, months, years establishing a relationship, sending flowers, checking in, how you feeling today. And this individual may have been vulnerable, recent divorce. She's looking to her future, whatever. And then he introduced her to a new app. And we all do that. let's be honest. We often get from friends, "Hey, Nick, I just started this new app. It's really cool. Why don't you take a look at it?" Okay. Some of us are familiar with these financial apps. I mentioned Robinhood, outstanding organization. Robinhood, where you can buy and trade. There's other apps where we can buy and trade digital currency. From my understanding, this had nothing. This may not have anything to do with digital currency. So, she was or is a IT specialist in the United States. He uses WhatsApp. Why does he use WhatsApp? Because he's halfway around the world and he knows that just simple texting isn't going to work. Very genius. The app that he develops or the organization that he develops looks like a legitimate app. It's connected with legitimate banks, with bank accounts. She starts transferring money. At no point was there this over aggressive, I need $10,000. And we hear those cons all the time, a different video, different times. We hear, I need $10,000. My company's in, and I'll pay you back 15 in a month. Trust me. No, it was this slow, gradual process. Again, sorry, but using the terms, fattening the hog for slaughter, fattening the pig for slaughter. And then at a certain point, when the victim tries to recover money for whatever, finds out she can't, and now the money is gone. So this is an interesting approach here. This is a very sophisticated approach. Now, in some of the articles that I read, they were talking about artificial intelligence being involved in here, some of the deep fakes. Now, again, all of those are based upon some kind of social engineering principle. In the pig butchering scam, we have a couple principles going on in here. We have likeness, where the victim is looking for some form of companionship, and with a long enough duration, there's a likeness. I trust this individual. I've been talking to them for months. They never asked me to do anything inappropriate or send them anything. There is the almost like a scarcity. Ooh, here's an app. It's pretty cool, but you got to get on the bottom floor. Right. We saw that in the Bernie Madoff days and the classic Ponzi scam. Bernie Madoff, he never advertised. It was all word of mouth. And that was kind of the insidious thing. So somebody would go to a friend, hey, Nick, I have this broker, Bernie, and he does a really good job. So, but you got to keep it on the QT, because if other people find out, they'll ruin it for all of us. So again, we have that going on. But to me, what is truly interesting about this particular scam is the amount of real sophistication involved. They're developing apps. These organized crimes are developing apps. They're using existing apps, legitimate apps. They're switching over. They're hiding their identity. They're doing everything that could be in a normal situation. I think we all have friends and family we haven't physically seen for months, but we're constantly talking with them. So why would it be suspicious that this individual, let's say she's living in California, she thinks he's living in Philadelphia, and they can't coordinate a meet and greet, right? Maybe they're doing WhatsApp does provide the ability to do like a FaceTime and things like that. So very insidious, and these are somewhat dangerous. So we as cybersecurity experts, what can we do? Well, this one's a tough one. I think, again, a lot of this is user education. We have to understand that that person you have not met, you haven't met, right? There may be things. There may be ways to do a Google background check on them. If you're really interested and money starts really getting involved, it may be time to start looking into just some Google analysis, looking up if they're saying where they live, and if things get suspicious. If there's a lot of money involved, you can do background checks and things like that. But simple caution and watching things. Look at email addresses. Look at ask them question. Why are we using WhatsApp? Why are we switching over? Can't I do all this investment with a legit, not legit, but a well-established thing, started to ask a question. And if those questions start getting evasive, like, no, 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 it has to be this app, there might be a reason in there. So very, very intriguing. This social engineering, this particular one was extremely intriguing for me because, boy, there were a lot of things that, not a lot of red flags, and a lot of things that we just normally do as a routine, right? So no red flags yet until she couldn't get the money. And we just normally, we're now doing. We're using this technology. So guess what? The bad actors are also using this technology. That being said, let's go out and learn something.